The real sexual revolution doesn't start at 20, it starts when she's 40. That's when women stop pretending, stop performing, and start wanting for real. Forget everything you've been told about women peaking in their 20s, about youth being the ultimate currency of desire. Because when a woman hits her 40s, something deep inside her finally wakes up. She's not chasing approval anymore. She's not performing for attention or trying to fit into a mold that was never designed for her. Instead, she's craving connection, power, and pleasure entirely on her own terms. And that is something most men are completely, utterly unprepared for. For decades, we've been fed the same tired story, a narrative that has shaped our entire understanding of attraction. It's the story that female sexuality is a flame that burns brightest in youth and then slowly, inevitably, fades with age. We're told that youth equals desire, that beauty is fleeting, and that older women simply lose it. But here's the forbidden truth, the one that dismantles that entire flimsy structure. That story was written by men who never truly understood women in the first place. It was a convenient fiction, designed to maintain control and keep a powerful force contained. Because when you actually stop projecting and start listening, when you listen to women in their 40s, 50s, and beyond, you'll hear a completely different story. They'll tell you something that shatters the myth. They'll tell you they've never felt more alive. They'll describe a confidence they never knew was possible, a profound connection to their own bodies, and a clarity about what they truly want. And, most importantly, they are no longer afraid to ask for it, to demand it, to claim it as their own. The revelation isn't about trying to be younger. It's about finally, exhilaratingly, being real. To understand this shift, you have to look at what came before. Younger women, often through no fault of their own, are masters of performance. They don't just perform tasks. They perform desire itself, rather than truly experiencing it from a place of authenticity. They have grown up completely immersed in a culture that relentlessly tells them how to look, how to act, and how to be sexy by a set of external, often male-defined, standards. But this culture almost never teaches them how to actually feel desire for themselves. The entire system is built around external validation. They are constantly under immense pressure to please others, to be chosen, to play a part in someone else's story. It's a game of survival, and they learn the rules quickly. So, they learn how to fake confidence when they feel insecure. They learn how to project passion when they feel numb. And in the most intimate moments, they sometimes even learn how to fake intimacy, because the performance is what has been rewarded. But age is a powerful solvent. With age comes clarity, and with clarity comes the courage to stop acting. And when that lifelong performance finally ends, that's the moment the real woman steps out from behind the curtain, and she is breathtaking. So, what exactly happens around the age of 40 that flips this profound switch? It's not one single event, but a powerful convergence of three fundamental forces. First, there is life experience. She has seen enough, lived enough, and crucially, heard enough to know exactly who she is and who she is not. The superficial games of her youth no longer hold any appeal. She isn't looking for a temporary ego boost or a shallow compliment. She doesn't crave validation from others anymore, because she has finally learned how to validate herself. What she craves now is something far more substantial, authentic connection. She wants to be seen for who she truly is, not for the role she can play. Her bullshit detector is finely tuned, honed by years of navigating life's complexities, and she can spot inauthenticity from a mile away. Second, and this is a part of the story that is almost never told, are the hormonal shifts. Society sells us a narrative of decline, menopause as an ending, but the reality is far more interesting. Around perimenopause, while estrogen levels begin to fluctuate, testosterone levels in women can rise relative to other hormones. This isn't a glitch, it's a biological catalyst. This shift can give them a surprising, powerful surge in libido and a newfound sense of boldness. While society is condescendingly telling her to slow down and fade gracefully into the background, her own body is often screaming the opposite. Her biology is saying, live, truly live, before it's too late. It's a primal, urgent call to experience life with an intensity she may have suppressed for decades. And third, there is self-awareness. After years of trying to understand herself through the eyes of others, she finally turns her gaze inward. She understands what she likes, what brings her pleasure, and what makes her feel alive in bed and out of it. More importantly, she is completely done apologizing for it. She is no longer afraid of her own hunger, her own ambition, or her own power. The shame that was programmed into her about having needs and desires has dissolved, replaced by a grounded sense of entitlement to her own pleasure. This potent combination, life experience, hormonal fire, and radical self-awareness, creates something that men in our culture rarely encounter and are seldom prepared for. A woman who knows exactly what she wants and isn't the slightest bit afraid to take it. Here's the part most men can't handle. When a woman reaches this stage of her life, her entire energy changes. It's a palpable shift. It's no longer the playful, approval-seeking flirtation of a 20-something, an energy that is designed to be pleasing and non-threatening. What replaces it is a raw, grounded, and self-contained power. It radiates from her. And men who are accustomed to being in the driver's seat, who have built their identities around being in control, often find themselves completely lost in her presence. They don't know what to do because all their old tricks no longer work. She is no longer impressed by flashy displays of status, by practiced charm, or by the manipulative games they've used to get by. She sees right through it all, and she is profoundly unimpressed. What she wants is something real, something with substance. Most men have been taught their entire lives to chase youth, to prize the superficial glow of inexperience, not the deep resonance of depth. But once they finally encounter a woman who truly owns her desire, a woman who meets their gaze without flinching, they have a stunning realization: youth was never the point. True female sexuality is like a fine wine, or perhaps more accurately, potent spirit. It doesn't fade. It matures, it deepens, and it becomes more unapologetically potent with the passage of time. What used to be shy or hesitant becomes confident and direct. What used to be about pleasing someone else becomes, finally, about feeling for herself. The focus shifts from an external performance to an internal, visceral experience of pleasure and power. And for the first time in her life, she is not afraid to be seen, not as someone's wife, or someone's mother, or someone's fantasy projection, but as a fully alive, sovereign, passionate being in her own right. That's the part of the story society has tried so desperately to hide, to suppress, to medicate away. Because an awakened woman, a woman who is in full possession of her own fire, she is uncontrollable, and that is a terrifying prospect to a system built on her compliance. So here's the truth, the one they never wanted you to know: the real sexual revolution doesn't happen in your 20s, amidst the noise and the pressure. It begins in the quiet, powerful moment. A woman stops asking for permission to feel alive. At 40, 50, 60, and beyond, she's not losing her fire. She is finally becoming it. And that is what men in the world were never prepared for.